In the history of sprint car racing, no place will compare to the capital, where tonight we kick off a week unlike any other from the famed half-miler. Welcome to live coverage of the first night of the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series Knoxville Nationals, presented to you live by Dirtman Photography right here on the KBueno Racing Network from the virtual Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa. Our fantastic week of sprint car racing starts tonight, and we are so happy to have you join us. We're alongside Keelan Belsha. My name is Kenneth Bueno. And Keelan, this is the biggest week usually for all sprint car racing in the real life side. When you think about the NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, when they go to Knoxville Nationals, it's a very big event, very big show. And tonight, really, it's no different on the sim side, but it is the biggest week in this series with the biggest purse and, of course, with the biggest stakes.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. This, of course, it is the biggest dirt track that you want to win at. When people start a dirt career, they come out to the World of Outlaws. Their biggest goal, of course, the capital of sprint car racing, right here in Knoxville. It's such a historic venue. And you talked about how this week it's going to be a huge week, a $10 purse tonight, and then night 3 on Wednesday. That's a big $50 purse. So these guys are chasing a lot of money, and of course a win, points, chase after a championship.
And of course, you mentioned those stakes and just those purses, everything that's going to be going on here in the Knoxville Nationals throughout the week. It'll start, of course, tonight on Sunday night right here on the KBueno Racing Network. Then we'll kick off our second night on Tuesday. That'll be at around 8:45 p.m. Eastern, but we'll go live for coverage of that second night with possibly the highest purse out of them all. And then going into the third night, that'll be on Wednesday night, most likely to the admins at least and the officials from what they decide. And that'll be the entire week throughout. That'll be all the Knoxville Nationals. We're so excited to get this thing started. And this week we'll begin a season where there have only been just 5 different winners in this entirety of the series. And it is no question, Keelan, the biggest threat to the field has obviously been the AOG Racing driver of Cody Meadows. And it is hard to ignore his 4 wins this season. However, some luck has turned for some of the drivers in the field, including drivers like Eddie Kirker, who won the Lernerville race earlier this week. And of course, a lot of these other drivers looking for more wins and of course looking for their first win still in this spread out field.
Yeah, you talk about Cody Meadows. He has just been the dominant driver almost every time we come out here. He's up there running up in the front, always contending for wins. And of course, Aiden Kirker, winner at Lernerville. Last time he come out here in this series, he put on a good show there. He's always been running up front, but sometimes luck hasn't been on his side when it comes to wrecks or falling through a session or something like that. He hasn't had much luck himself, but yeah, you said it. Cody, he's been dominant. It's going to be hard to ignore him.
Well, as qualifying will continue to wane down, just about 2 minutes out from our grid into heat number 1, we'll just take a look at further reference of where we are in the virtual world as we take a look at our KBRN Track Map with images provided by Google Earth. Going to step down into the sprint car racing capital of the world, beautiful Knoxville, Iowa, where you'll find the Knoxville Raceway, a half-mile track opened all the way back in 1878. Fun fact, as a horse racing track, before, of course, the sprint cars started heading over here and started the tradition that continues to play out through this day. Got a slight banking at about 8 degrees, but it probably won't affect the drivers too much. Relatively flat, this track. And, of course, obviously, we are on the dirt surface, but we have played course to some of the clay surface races, Keelan, when we looked in some of the tracks like Eldora. And, of course, we looked at Volusia, some of the same kind of factor here. Of course, we just have straight dirt on this track here at Knoxville. And, of course, we are going to be ready to kick things off in our first heat in just a couple of moments' time. Keelan, right before we get started, before we drop the screen flag in heat number 1, and before we kind of start to set the grid, there's about 17 drivers here tonight, so there should be just one only missing the main grid in the main field. I know there's a lot of drivers out there in this field that have picked up some wins. Obviously mentioned Cody Meadows, just how much he's been dominant, 4 wins in this season. Obvious points leader. Drivers like Marshall Ryder, who's also had his share of win. Aiden Kirker has also won a race here this season. Then you look at drivers that we have looked at every single week as a possible threat for wins that have yet to really capture the checkered flag. Cole Williams being one of them. Looked at Cameron McCone being a driver we see each and every week out that he is yet to pick up a win. Caleb Morrissey, quite possibly the biggest name that we haven't seen capture a checkered flag. And even some of the other drivers like Caleb Nickel, JJ Hill, league owner himself. Surprised that we have not seen a win out of him just yet. But Keelan, if there's anyone you're really looking your eye out for, which driver can possibly take that turning point from not having any checker flags in the previous races in the season to turning that around here, shaping that luck, and starting to put that points situation into mind?
Well, I think when you look at the field tonight and winless drivers who need to get in victory lane, I think you got to look at Caleb Morrissey in a 6 car. He has consistently been running up front. He's just been short of the victory. I think tonight, currently sitting 6th on the grid, I believe. I think he's got some speed in that car, and if he can get his luck on his side tonight, I think he can get up there and try to get a win.
Well, qualifying has just drawn to a close, and that means we'll take a look into our first heat of this evening here for the Knoxville Nationals in night number 1. And right there, you see the number 88 of Cody Meadows for AOD Racing. He will start on the pole for heat number 1, 8 laps, of course, with Richard Kirker to his outside in row number 1. Son Aiden Kirker will follow through behind in 3rd in row number 2 with league owner JJ Hill in the number 3 car right there in that A&B Outdoors machine. He will be sitting in 4th. Jeff Wiggs will be starting from the 5th position, and Richard Mendonça, he's supposedly supposed to be the 6th spot. We'll see if he ends up registering or showing up on the track. He has yet to show up on pit road, so maybe he might have had a registration issue or possibly connection issue. We'll see whether he's going to actually make it out on the track, and we'll have our full 6-car grid for this first season. Of course, just like every other race we have here, Keelan, in the QuickTime Sprint Car Series, it's to be 8 laps in the heats. It's very, very quick. Pretty much in a blink of an eye, you go from starting the heat to ending the heat. We've seen some phenomenal battles, and of course, these heats really will determine where you start in the main event, and that is very key, especially when you're looking at high purses, and of course, a very short feature lap at about 25 laps total.
Yeah, 15-second laps here, 8 laps in a heat. That goes by in a blink of an eye. And these heat races, this is really where you show your speed. And wherever you finish in your heat, the higher up you finish, the higher up you'll start in the feature. And that just, it's such a big advantage. Like if you win heat 1, you're starting on the pole in the feature. That's such a huge advantage, especially in a short feature, like you said, 25 laps. Little 15-second laps, it'll be over in a blink of an eye. Starting up front is going to be the biggest advantage you can give yourself in these heats.
And of course, Cody Meadows, no stranger to being up front. Of course, has already won those 4 races. As previously mentioned, was the sweeper of the Eldora kickoff in our first 2 races of this season. He started it off with a bang, and he has surely not let go of it. And those 4 wins really can show that. And one of the more recent winners from Volusia in our New Year's Bash, and of course, has picked up a couple of other wins as well throughout this season. Richard Kirker, though, the father of Aiden Kirker, we'll see if he can put up some good results here tonight from Knoxville. Of course, it is a new track. We have yet to visit this in this entire season, so should be at least some sort of good news for drivers who may have not had as much luck in some of the other venues we've visited throughout this season. Could be their turn of luck coming here at Knoxville. Well, we are happy to have you join us for our coverage right here on the KBueno Racing Network of the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series as we kick off heat number 1. The pace truck will make its left onto pit road, and Meadows and Kirker will be the first 2 to see the green flag. They'll make their way off of turn 4, and we are green in heat number 1. Good start by Cody Meadows. Kirker falls behind in the inside.
The son of Richard, Aiden, hops up in the 2nd, as now Richard Kirker is going to have to defend his 3rd position. He holds his ground going into 3. Cody Meadows off of turn 4, going to easily lead lap 1.
Goes Aiden Kirker to the inside. He went for 2nd. There is a battle over for 3rd. As you saw, JJ Hill was put under pressure by Jeff Wiggs. Wiggs, however, does fall back. It's all single file throughout this first lap. And at lap number 3, Meadows still at a charge. The 2 Kirker slowly following behind. And one thing about this racetrack, Keelan, I think Cole said it best just right before this race. He said it was most likely like a super speedway in terms of comparing the lap times, especially when it came down to qualifying, because you're really just holding it full throttle, you're really holding it all throughout, but you're really just choosing the lines. That's really where it continues to be its strongest. And you see some of those drivers getting close to that mound on the inside, just trying to perfect their lines they can as Aiden tries to catch up to heat leader Cody Meadows with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, these long sweeping corners, and wherever you enter the corner, that's where you're going to ride that entire corner. You got to hit your marks perfectly, because these long corners, it'll kill you if you take a bad entry, because you won't get that speed back till the very next corner. So you got to be perfect. A super speedway, you said it's full throttle, but you still got to be perfect because it's hard to get back in your lane if you enter bad.
Of course, these cars with so much power, the 410 sprint cars, have about a 900 horsepower engine in there, and just so much power to hold to the rear wheels that you're just trying to hold on to the race car. You're trying to turn it the best way you can, but the car is very sensitive to those inputs. So obviously that line will continue to make sense. We're still looking at the battle for first, though, as Aiden Kirker has been slowly putting on the slide jobs in 3 and 4, kind of close this gap, but Meadows will take the white flag in this heat, so we'll have one more trip around the half-miler, and so far that 17 is trying to reel him in down the back straightaway. He'll have one more shot heading into the fence in turn number 3 and 4, gonna try to make his way all the way to the mound, but Cody Meadows will take this win in heat number 1, with Kirker right alongside his second. Richard Kirker will finish third. JJ Hill, league owner, will come to 4th, as Wiggs and Mendonça will finish 5th and 6th, respectively, on the grid. And already, just as quickly as we ended that first heat, we're going to start over into our second heat of the evening. We should have one LCQ at a last chance qualifier. However, it probably won't be that big. There'll just be pretty much one driver just missing this event. Cole Williams will be on the pole for this second heat, right alongside former race winner Marshall Ryder, who will start alongside in the first row. Jesse Atkinson, also race winner this season in his Cheez-It 127. He will finish out in third, with Cameron McCone starting in 4th in this heat. Vincent Isabella and Bo Krebs, the previous Dirtman Photography Hard Charger Award winner at Volusia. He will be over in the 6th spot for this grid. And Keelan, already saw some of the action in the first heat. Wasn't really too much compared to, I think, what we saw at some of the other shorter tracks in terms of the heat competition. However, do you think with this field we might see some more, especially with some of the heavy hitters trying to find their way through the midst of this one?
Yeah, this is a stacked heat. You talk about Cole, he's been quick this year trying to get in victory lane. Marshall Ryder, he's won a race earlier this year. Jesse's won a race. Cameron McCone, he's been close to winning, hasn't quite been able to get up there. This is a really stacked heat. Jesse, I believe he was second in points a few races back, but those haven't been updated in a while. But Jesse, he's been consistent to start off the season, so maybe if he can get up there, get around Marshall, he could go up there, contend for this heat win. Yeah, it's a pretty stacked heat. We'll see.
So Cole will be the first one to see this green flag in heat number 2. Of course, once again, we'll separate around for 8 laps total, and that will be everybody, I believe, just about 4 drivers will make it into the main event, and then we'll have, or I believe 3 drivers make it into the main event, and we'll have just a handful of those go out in the LCQ. Of course, it'll only be 1 spot to miss, so surely it would pretty much be 99.9% for most of these drivers. And Cole Williams, obviously, you did mention there, Keelan, one of the strongest ones we've seen throughout the season, had just been hit with so much bad luck. You talk about some of the closest races he's been at winning, where he's had a shot to capture that checker flag. He looked like one of the dominant cars out there, and all of a sudden, maybe he scrapes the wall a little bit, gets into contact with somebody, and all of a sudden, you see him out of the race completely. And of course, has really hurt his chances of capturing any sort of win in this series. Has really been the one holding him back. The luck has been not there, but should that luck come around here in Knoxville, will certainly be one of the biggest storylines to see if he could capture his first win, possibly make that turning point, much like Aiden Kirker, his best friend, has also done alongside with his win at Lernerville. Meanwhile, we'll take the trip off turn 4. Pace truck will make its way down for the second heat of this evening in the first night of the Knoxville Nationals. Green flag up and away, and a big checkup from Marshall Ryder to the outside. That held up Cameron McCone to the outside as well. Atkinson will move to second. Ryder still trying to rebound to third, as Cole Williams will find his way into 3 and 4. He'll be the race leader on lap number 1.
Looked like Ryder may have gassed it up a little early on that restart, so he had to back up to make sure he didn't get that black flag. He did a good job at that, but that did check up that outside lane, as now Cameron McCone's trying to run down Ryder. Ryder all over Jesse Atkinson for second here, as he takes a little bit of a higher line in 3 and 4.
He's trying to look for that cutoff of turn 4. You see him at a higher entry that time out of 3 and 4. He's all the way down to the mound, though. Almost contact with the rear wheel there, but just about clean. They are letting Cole Williams let by, though, so maybe this would last a little longer, and it probably won't be good for them as well, because then they'll see Cole Williams pretty much just run away with this heat lead. And of course, winning that heat will lock yourself even further into the future at a higher starting position. So of course, that will make a lot more sense. There comes Ryder to the inside. He'll scrape his way to second, as Atkinson will scrape for third. There comes Mahone trying to find for the 4th spot.
Atkinson may have not anticipated Marshall make such a deep dive in there, and he went up the racetrack, made sure he didn't make contact, wreck them both. McCone now trying to run down Atkinson for that last transfer spot. He's got a little bit of work to do here at Knoxville.
And marking off turn 2 down to the back straightaway, immediately straight into turn 3 and 4. You can see that 127 is all over the back wing of the number 75. As you're going to look on board with him, you can see just how close they are to the outside. Just trying to nail that line off the corner, almost up to the outside guardrail, and just trying to slide in to 3 and 4. Obviously talking about those lanes, just how important they are, and saw Marshall Ryder trying to take some extra precautions to make sure he can get by the number 127, which he was able to do. As we've got the white flag in heat number 2, it looks to be all Cole Williams at the front. That battle for second, though, still under fire, but Cole Williams will come off of turn 4, and he will take the win in heat number 2. Ryder will survive for second, Atkinson third, Cameron McComb will finish in the 4th spot, with Vincent Isabella in 5th. Bo Krebs, who was all the way in the back that entire event, and he will fall to 6th. Most likely will find his way into the consolation event. We'll find our way into the 3rd heat, what possibly could be the final heat of the evening before we get to our last chance qualifier. And of course, we'll move on to our 25 lap feature here for the Knoxville Raceway. Just a reminder that if you want to join the conversation with us up in the KBRN booth, you can do so using hashtag AskKBRN. You can put your question followed by the hashtag and ask anything you like, of course, about the series, about the race, about us at the KBueno Racing Network, and our services, and much, much more. That's hashtag AskKBRN for anything you'd like to ask. And Keelan, bringing back to this one, we've already seen some of the good racing between that second place. Wasn't really the same case in the first heat, however. We do have possibly another good battle set up as Morrissey will be into second. Woodhull will be here as well. Caleb Nickel, Jacob Dove will be in the 3rd and 4th spot, with Jacob Boxell into that 5th spot. Pretty much close racing up to the top and right up to the guardrail, Keelan, that we're seeing, where we talked about just how much the lines are superior, how much they really affect the way the drivers handle the race cars, and how quick they can be around here. Seems to be really the case, and pretty much I think I've seen the only 2 lines being used if you're either all the way down to the dirt mound or you're all the way close to that little cushion up there in the dark dirt up at the top of the track.
Yeah, you just got to find the line that works for you and stick it, because it's full throttle. So of course you just got to hold it, because there's not much you can do if you pick a bad line, because I don't know, you're kind of screwed if you take a bad line, because then you can allow that guy behind you to close the gap, and then it gets hard to pass. If you have your line, it's going to get hard for that guy behind you to pass.
Well, we'll see what happens in this 3rd and possible final heat of the evening before we get to the consolation races. A little late for Anthony Woodhull to get things started, but we are back under green for heat number 3 of the evening. Again, 8 laps to settle. Here comes Caleb Morrissey charging, though, all the way to the top. He looked for second. He's looking for the lead into turn 3 and 4.
He had a huge charge in 1 and 2. He got a little wide entering 3, and that's going to let Woodhull take the spot. Morrissey not going to go down without a fight, though, all over Woodhull off of turn 2.
He's been scraping. Oh, you looked him all the way. I think just hit about that outside guardrail. He's going to look to the inside of the dirt mound in 3 and 4, but I think it might not be enough to capture the inside just yet. You have to scrap once more for the outside, and here comes Caleb Nickel for the 3rd spot. He's a little slick on the track, so he loses a little bit of time. Could separate him back to Jacob Dove just a little bit, but here comes Caleb Morrissey now to the inside of the heat leader into turn 3 and 4.
Morrissey makes a charge and a slide job into turn 1 and 2. Can't quite hold off Woodhull. He makes a charge to the bottom with the crossover. Here comes Morrissey on the outside off of turn 4. He's going to get the lead.
5 laps to go in this 3rd heat, and it is Caleb Morrissey who found his way to the front. To the inside, you can see Woodhull is just trying to get to the dirt mound. He got a little up there, had almost 2 wheels off the ground, and he's going to lose a couple tenths to the heat leader in the number 6 machine. He's trying to run away in his channel lock number blue 410 sprint car. Now he's under fire from Nickel, Boxell, and Dove as they all trade for positions. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Morrissey running away with 3 laps to go.
Morrissey has checked out. Woodhull tried to close the gap on him, and you said it, he hit the dirt mound a little bit. It unsettled his car, and it allowed Nickel to close the gap. Nickel trying to get up there to Woodhull. Boxell trying to fight for that last transfer spot. Down in 3 and 4, Woodhull gets a bad entry into 3. Nickel takes a look to the inside. Not quite going to get it that time.
The car on the wall back there, I believe that was Boxell, but the white flag is out into the 3rd heat. Nickel had gotten by Woodhull. Now Woodhull is looking for revenge, but up front as they're making the slide jobs, Caleb Morrissey will come off turn 4, and he'll win this third heat. Got contact though in the back, and Nickel will hold on though just by an inch over Woodhull. He'll get second, Woodhull third, Jacob Boxell fourth. Jacob Dove will be the final driver into the top 5. And now this is the time where we kick off our last chance qualifier for the evening. Remember, everybody but one will make it in. We had a 17-car field registered here before practice was finished. So we would just have one driver missing out, and it will most likely be the driver who finishes all the way in the back. So we'll only have one driver miss, and it'll surely be just a driver at the tail end of this field. But we do have a lot of good drivers, a lot of strong hitters that we've seen in previous races find their way into this LCQ. Starting with league owner JJ Hill. He'll start tonight on the first position. He'll be the first to launch the field off, and the green flag for this 10-lap last chance qualifier with Cameron McCone to his outside. In the second position, Jacob Boxell will be third, with Jeff Wiggs finding out in fourth position. Vince Isabella will be fifth, with Jacob Dove sixth, Richard Mendonça seventh, Bo Krebs will be at the tail end in the 8th position. He obviously is at the highest risk of missing this event entirely for night 1 of the Knoxville Nationals. And of course, Keelan, with such a big event, obviously points matter a lot throughout every race, but here at Knoxville, where the stakes are higher, where pretty much this is the biggest race with the biggest purse, points will still matter at the end of the day. Points will still make sense, and of course double points will be awarded in some of these different nights. How crucial is it to nail this first night, get things right here, so that you can set yourself up for the second and third races come Tuesday and Wednesday night?
Well, it's huge. Like you said, this is like a Daytona 500 for the Cup Series, but it's the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series, and it's the biggest race of the season. And your finishing position tonight, that'll just set the stakes. It'll tell everybody else what you feel like you can do. The momentum is side if you can get a good finish tonight. And then it comes down to the last 2 nights. They're going to be huge nights, like you said, a huge purse of $50. So it's all going to come down to that. But you need to get started tonight. You know, your finishing position tonight will tell everybody else what you plan to do, and it'll give you your momentum.
Well, finishing position here just pretty much means to get in the feature event, don't be last. JJ Hill will be the first one to see the green flag as the base truck makes its way down a pit road. We are underway for the 10-lap last chance qualifier here for the Knoxville Nationals in night number 1. Already a good start by JJ Hill, but a gaggle of cars through the back. You can see this 4-car train with Dove, Mendonça, Krebs, Isabella also in the mix as well. Here's the 46 trying to look to the inside on the front straightaway.
Mendonça making his move to the inside of Isabella. There goes Krebs to the outside of him. They're going to go down in the 3 and 4 battling here. Mendonça is going to cut him off there. Bo Krebs taking a look down to the inside as Jacob Dove is behind them trying to get out of last.
Still side by side for that second spot. Just saw the number 168 of Krebs get just a little bit slick down there. He'll be under fire from the 41 of Dove, who's holding on for that last position. Remember, this is that transfer spot. If you fall below that 7th spot, you are theoretically out of the feature event. You won't make this 25-lap feature, and you won't be able to contend for a win and some of the purse money come later tonight. So this is going to be what we're watching pretty much all throughout this heat as we complete lap number 4 on to lap number 5 at the halfway mark. JJ Hill still at a strong lead. No contest yet from Wiggs or McCone in second and third.
Yeah, JJ Hill is gone right now as Wiggs is trying to close the gap as the track starts to acclimate more to some guys liking. Maybe JJ likes it now, that's why he's up there. McCone all over Wiggs trying to get to second. So you're on board with Vincent Isabella here running in 5th.
See him still to the inside of Cameron McCone, or actually not Cameron McCone, Jacob Boxell in the number 44 rather. He's trying to get that position through. It seems as though he's still at the battle. The 44 made that crossover to the inside, and now he's trying to find that spot. Remember, they will both make it in if they continue to battle regardless. So if they finish where they are, they'll make the feature event. They're just pretty much battling for where they will start on the racetrack. That battle, though, for the final spot has calmed down significantly. Jacob Dove was able to find the uphold strength to get by Bo Krebs, and Bo Krebs has yet to make somewhat of a clapback, the number 41. So he's at the highest risk of being put away and put home for this event as we approach 2 laps to go. There's not a lot of time left. JJ Hill coming off turn 4. He'll take the white flag in the last chance qualifier.
JJ gone from Wiggs right now. Wiggs trying to make somewhat of a charge. He can on the bottom. Not quite able to get it in 1 and 2. He's just going to run behind JJ in 3 and 4. JJ Hill going to come off of turn 4. He's going to win the consolation race.
JJ wins last chance qualifier. The battle for 8th will stay. Bo Krebs is officially out of the night, so he will not take place in our 25-lap feature. JJ Hill, though, obviously, and everybody else will advance all the way down to Jacob Dove, who found himself in the 7th spot. He was able to survive at the last second. Well, this is it, folks. This is the feature event for the first night of the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series Knoxville Nationals, presented by Dirtman Photography, and it'll start at the green flag with Cody Meadows, 4-time race winner. At the head of the field, he'll kick things off with Cole Williams to his outside of the number 42 EO Media Racing Machine. Caleb Morrissey will be in the 3rd spot in the number 6 Channel Lock Blue 410 Sprint Car, with Aiden Kirker in the Map TV number 17 machine. He'll find himself in the 2nd row in the 4th spot. Marshall Ryder will be starting tonight from the 5th spot, with Caleb Nickel on the outside in 6th. Richard Kirker, Jesse Atkinson 7th and 8th, with Anthony Woodhull. JJ Hill will be the final ones in row number 5. Remember, JJ was the winner in the last chance qualifier, so everybody else behind him were the other finishers. Jeff Wiggs, Karen McCone 12th, Vincent Isabella 13th, Jacob Boxville, Richard Mendonça, and Jacob Dove. Final drivers and everybody in this 16-car field from the Knoxville Raceway for the first night of the Knoxville Nationals. As the pace truck sets off out of pit road, very close to the wall. I guess just trying to, I'm not sure what he was trying to do there, but nonetheless, going to be leading this field, and everybody will make their way to one of the biggest salutes in dirt sprint car racing. That is the 4 wide salute, and this is for you, the fans, or at least the virtual fans here watching live from the KBueno Racing Network. We thank you so much. These drivers put this display on for you each and every week, and tonight is no different. This is the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series. Gorgeous sight in a turn number 1. Keelan, before we get green, big field, big stakes, and big names coming out here tonight, with Meadows leading this grid. If there's anyone you have your eye on for 25 laps and 25 short laps of that, who will it be?
Well, Meadows looked really good in his heat. I think he'll be hard to beat, but I got my eye on Cole Williams. You talk about him. He dominated his heat, and if he can get up there, I think he's the guy who can get up there and contend with Meadows. I got Williams tonight.
Well, Williams will start on the outside of run number 1. Meadows will be, though, the first one to the green flag. Pace truck is up and away. We are green in the first night of the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series Knoxville Nationals, presented by Dirtman Photography. Had one driver to the outside wall. Cole Williams had a little bit of shot to the back of the number 88, but so far, so clean for the drivers up to the top 5. Huge gaggle of cars up there, lap number 1.
Aiden Kirker to the outside of Williams. He's going to try to make it around him on lap 2. He'll do so successfully, and now he's going to set his sight on 4-time winner Cody Meadows. Kirker in the Map TV number 17 sprint car, trying to make his way up there, as Cole Williams is having to hold his position off from Caleb Morrissey.
Caleb Morrissey leading this field, about a couple of cars behind him, with Ryder and Atkinson being those. They are side by side, though, for position behind. That's Richard Kirker under fire from the 16 of Anthony Woodhull. There's even more side by side there between McCone and I believe Vincent Isabella. Richard Kirker, though, into the inside wall. Will that be a yellow flag? I don't believe so. He gets back onto the track with some minimal damage. I don't believe there will be a yellow flag this time by. Remember, no laps will be passed if we have yellows on the track. So far, we have yet to have one on lap number 5. Meadows, though, still in control, with Morrissey still trying to charge over for the 3rd spot.
Morrissey trying to get around Cole. Cole slides up. Morrissey going to take a peek at the bottom going into turn 1 here. Not quite going to get the gap to open up as Meadows continues to lead the field. And Kenneth, you talked about high stakes before tonight, the feature race on Wednesday. $50. The winner tonight gets the pole for that race. So this is a big-time race. The winner tonight will start on pole. Big feature.
That feature will be very big. Of course, on Tuesday, it'll be way bigger than what we see here tonight, Keelan. And Obviously, you're looking at a bunch of drivers. You're battling about for the 8th, 9th, 10th spot. That's Woodhull leading this charge with Vincent DeBella, Jacob Boxwell. Woodhull's been burning his way through the field, so it is good to see him trying to battle some drivers. Maybe a little bit there with Vincent DeBella. Got close with the 44 behind, but they'll stay clean. They'll still battling for this 3-car tango. McCone was in this conversation as well, J.J. Hill, but Hill did fall back significantly. He's now back to the 12th on the racetrack. As Richard Kirker got an update from him, he's now onto pit road, getting his damage fixed, and Jeff Wiggs in the 71 is out of this ring.
Somebody got way in the wall up there. I'm not sure who it was. Let's see if I can find it for you. I don't know who it was, but I saw somebody get in the wall in the backstretch while you were looking at Mr. Kirker there, so he'll probably have some damage. We'll probably find out who it is a little bit later as Cody Meadows continues to lead.
We saw even there as we looked on that camera view, J.J. Hill had got a piece of that front straightaway wall, and it seems as though Richard Mendonça was able to find his way by for 12th spot, and then they're still single file. Meanwhile, this is very gruesome up here, though. Ryder now joining the conversation. Isabella still looking for defense right under Jacob Boxell. Boxell will find that advantage on the front straightaway, but it's still not all said and done. And you see where everybody is up at this track, Keelan, and how close they are to the outside wall as they're making contact for position there on the back straightaway. They're just so close to the guardrail, and you can see there was a lot more cushion down there to the outside that we saw in these heats, and now throughout this feature event from what we saw in all the racing tonight, it's pretty much diminished, and you're practically inches away from that guardrail, very close to the danger.
Yeah, the more you go up the track, the more that dirt starts to get swept away, and the cushion gets that much closer. And if you hop that cushion, you're going to be in trouble. So it's such a close sport here on that outside lane, and this is Knoxville is such a historic track. It's difficult for that reason. It's a very difficult track, and I'm telling you, if you hop that cushion, you're going to be in big trouble.
We're already past our halfway marker in this race. Lap number 15 heard some contact throughout this field, but so far, so good. All green throughout all 15. Now 16 laps as we reach over. Cody Meadows still at the head. He's been leading this entire race, with Kirker, though, falling behind. Surprised that Kirker has not been able to catch up, has not been able to get that groove, and you're seeing the different grooves that they're taking as opposed to some of the drivers in the back, Keelan, where you see practically everyone. Watch here, all the way up to the guardrail from the entrance of the corner all the way to the very exit when you get to the straightaway. But then look at Meadows and Kirker. Look at these top three. They use the inside, let the car slide up to the outside wall, and then pretty much just gas it out of the corner and let it hang through as they're holding on.
Man, I couldn't really tell you why, because if I'm watching this as just a casual fan, I think those guys back there who are ripping the top of the whole corner, I feel like they got it right. But I guess these guys up front, they have something figured out, diving in there on the entry. Maybe that lets them keep it in the throttle a little bit more. I guess when you're closer to the wall, you got to let off. But these guys, they probably got their foot in it all the way around as the track starts to slicken up. Meadows trying to stay mistake-free as they come to about 6 to go.
6 to go from Knoxville. There's a lap car up ahead, and that is the number 41 of Jacob Dove, who's running at the tail end of this field. Obviously, Kirker and Wiggs pretty much out of this one for good. Pretty much only 5 laps to decide this one here from Knoxville Nationals in the night one of this entire weekend. Very, very quick. One driver, though, all the way to the inside. That's a caution with about 5 laps to go at the line. That was Cameron McCone. And the number 41 to Jacob Dove, who directly got into him on the front straightaway. That's our first caution of the evening. Right at the end of this race, we'll take a replay and find out where this started. And it did start with 12 of McCone, as he was pretty much stuck to the inside. We'll see what happened here. You see him out of the inside, trying to tangle with some of these drivers. There was contact up ahead with the 44 and Vincent Zabella, and that sent the 12 as just a passenger. He was kind of the driver late to the party on this one. You see just up ahead, the 1S and the 44 make contact, and McCone has nowhere to go. He gets tagged around and then hit that inside wall, went sideways, was pretty much holding position, and then Dove comes smashing in.
Fortunate for McCone, he couldn't really do anything about that. It's just 2 cars making contact up in front of him, and he's the innocent man right there. Got his car tore up because of it, so he'll have to get repairs if he can, or if he can't, his night is pretty much over. But the one guy who didn't want to see that yellow, that's Cody Meadows. He was up there. He's been the dominant car of this race to this point. I think he would have been fine with it going green, but this opens the door for Aiden Kirker now. Kirker may be able to take a shot here as we come to the restart.
Yeah, we've already got our 1 to go green signal, so at least that's some good news. So you saw one of the drivers, I believe that was Jacob Dove, that found his way back around. Or actually, it was Cameron McCone who found his way back around. No, that is Jacob Dove, actually. So he will find his way to the tail end. But they'll be coming off of turn number 4. Green flag with 5 laps to go. The first night of the Knoxville Nationals. Could this be the game changer for all of them? It will not be for Cody Meadows at the green flag. And we're back under the green flag as Kirker tries to look for second. Everybody scrambling for position behind. But Meadows looking for that checkered flag.
Meadows got a nice jump on that restart, timed it perfect, and Aiden Kirker, now his focus is trying to close this gap, get his 2nd straight win. Meanwhile, Meadows fighting for his 5th. Meadows just needs to stay mistake-free as Kirker is trying to close the gap down the backstretch and into 3 and 4, coming to 3 to go. Meadows got the dirt mound, and Kirker's going to close the gap significantly right there.
Kirker made that move in 3 and 4. That could be the one that sets him up for the pass. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd might be heating up as well. Cole Williams looking to the outside. He's catching up to Kirker. Now, this could be another game changer. This is a battle for 2nd spot as Morrissey will look through. Meadows, though, will find 2 laps to go as there's contact there. Williams hard into the inside wall. Caution waves with 2 laps to go. Williams up and over. And the bad luck continues.
Man, you gotta hate that for
Wow.
Cole. He got up there. He was up there charging for 2nd. He could have maybe had a charge for this win if Meadows were to make a mistake. Got to the inside of Aiden. See what happens here. He slides up near Aiden. Doesn't give him much room off the exit. Ooh, Aiden got really loose off corner exit. Cole paid the price for it, up and over on the back stretch, or front stretch.
And you can see just there as this was the setup out of turn number 2. Got right to the back of the 17, trying to make the move to the inside. It looked like it was going to be a potent run, and it seemed as though the 17 was going to get the run of the quarter. But look at the steering wheel there from the 17, absolutely fishtailing the car on the exit of the corner. Just take a look at the hands there in that the blue and white number 17, right there, trying to save the race car, and then fishtailed it into the 42. But we'll take another shot at this. This is off our TV2 cameras, right off of turn 4. And there's a smack, and there that very dangerous part of the wall. Sends a 42 up and over and out of this race.
Wow.
So it'll still be Meadows and Kirker, your first 2 that will lead them back to the green with 2 laps to go. It'll be pretty much a dash to the finish here, Keelan. Caleb Morrissey has found his way to conversation in top 3. With Jesse Atkinson 4th, Caleb Nickel rounding out your top 5, with Anthony Woodhull, Richard Mendonça, Vincent Isabella, Marshall Ryder, 44 Jacob Boxell will be in the top 10. JJ Hill falling out of it. Obviously, Cameron McCone and Jacob Dove not having very good nights either way. And they're the final drivers in this field. Already the 1 to green signal as they're passing the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum just outside of turn number 2. Come off turn number 4 with just 2 laps to go. I believe they'll take the white flag, possibly this time by. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if Meadows is able to hold on, or whether any driver has a say for them coming to these next couple laps. Green flag back out in the air. We are back under green, I believe, at our white flag mark. But we're still 2 laps to go. Actually, this is the white flag. So white flag presented by Dirt Heathen Racing Apparel. Here comes off turn 3 and 4. Meadows will find his way. All clear and dandy. 5 wins for the AOD Racing 88 machine. Cody Meadows wins the first night of the Knoxville Nationals presented by Dirtman Photography for the virtual Knoxville Raceway. What has been an unbelievable season continues. Aiden Kirker will finish 2nd as he was battling with Caleb Morrissey. Morrissey, though, will finish 3rd. Caleb Nickel, 4th. Jesse Atkinson, your top 5. But it's all Cody Meadows. Burning it down right there to the dirt mound in 1 and 2. Or I believe 3 and 4. No, actually, there's 1 and 2, yeah. Wow.
Big win for Meadows. He got up there and he took the lead in his heat, got QuickTime, got out front, and he just set sail. He did not let go. Beautiful day for Cody. Almost a mistake-free performance. He did a great job tonight. Kirker 2nd. Morrissey ran out of the top 3. Morrissey, he's been close in some of these races. I can't wait till he gets up there and gets in victory lane. But for now, Meadows, number 5, he's been dominant, and night 1 of the Knoxville Nationals goes to him.
There's Cody Meadows, I believe, just trying to find his way to victory lane. And there is the victory circle. So there he goes right there. Make the right turn and right to the podium. He'll find his way. He'll park his AOD Racing number 88 into victory lane for the 5th time this season. Obviously talked about his 4 wins, his most recent coming at Volusia, and now comes to Knoxville with a head of steam, and he is your winner from the Knoxville Raceway. We'll take a look at your full unofficial results from our first night of the Knoxville Nationals, presented by Dirtman Photography. Of course, Cody Meadows, his 5th win of the season, comes tonight with Aiden Kirker just short of the win after coming off of that Lernerville win earlier this week. He'll find his way to 2nd spot. Very good points day, though, for him. However, Caleb Morrissey in the number 6 channel lock machine will come home in the final step of the podium with Caleb Nickel 4th. Jesse Atkinson will round out your top 5. Anthony Woodhull will be in the 6th spot. Richard Mendonça will be in the 7th position at the checkered flag. Vince Isabella, after a very interesting run to the finish with a couple of those drivers, throughout the entire event, he will finish in the 8th spot with Marshall Ryder, previous race winner, will finish in 9th. And J.J. Hill, league owner himself, had some struggles, but he rebounds for a top 10.
In 11th, you got Jacob Boxell, Cameron McHone in 12th, Jacob Dove in 13th, Cole Williams, the bad luck continues for him in 14th, Richard Kirker 15th, and Jeff Wiggs rounds out the field in 16th.
So that's your entire field here from the first night of the Knoxville Nationals. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have our KBRN post-race coverage brought to you by SDC. We'll have interviews with our top 3 finishers, and of course, our Dirtman Photography Hard Charger Award winner. We'll have more coverage here for the virtual Knoxville Raceway. You're watching the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series right here on the KBueno Racing Network. Don't go anywhere. We've got more coming next. Welcome back to the virtual Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa, where we kick off our KBRN post-race coverage, brought to you by SDC for the first night of the Knoxville Nationals in the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series, of course, presented by Dirtman Photography. It was a valiant 25 laps and a very quick one at that for our first night of practically the biggest week in the sprint car racing on the sim side for this series specifically. Of course, our next race is Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll get more to that in just a little bit. But for the people who have finished this race in our first event of the week, it is Cody Meadows, his 5th win, back to victory lane once again, and we'll bring him in from the victory circle presented by Dirt Heathen Racing Apparel. And Cody, it is our 5th time bringing you into victory lane for another interview, and it still continues. The trend and the exact momentum that you have carried through all of your wins continues to be the same, and this one, I believe, even bigger though for you, hopefully, that it's the Knoxville Nationals, the biggest week in this series at all in this entire season, and you're able to capture that, and now you'll be able to have a chance at more purses, and of course a lot more wins coming through the rest of this week with tonight.
Yeah, this is most certainly one of the bigger races I've ever won. I mean, having the Knoxville Nationals come to iRacing, thanks to JJ, I mean, great league, competition is amazing. Aiden was, I'm not cutting him no slack. I mean, this was a tough race. I mean, he's been right there with me for a while, like for the Volusia race as well as Lernerville. It's tough competition between me and him and a lot of other drivers here. But here recently has been me and the 17 going at it. But the Knoxville Nationals, man, it's it's one of those events. It's kind of like Daytona in a way. Could be the Daytona of NASCAR. I mean, Knoxville, the sprint car capital of the world. It's just a different vibe on this track once you get on it, especially when you're running it.
And of course, a very big win for you, and obviously still adding on to that win category, and you surely are the exact points leader. But just walk us through how this track was, because I know this is quite possibly one of the more unique tracks as opposed to what we see on the rest of the schedule, and pretty much the second time, but first time officially in terms of points racing that we visit this venue, where you're pretty much full throttle throughout, and we saw your line compared to a lot of others where you were slinging it to the inside, sliding up the track, and still faster than the rest of this field. Walk us through that entire run to the finish, pretty much green flag the most of the way throughout with you leading every step of the way.
Well, it's come from the heat, really. Coming in, I knew the bottom lane was usually the fastest here, but once it starts to get a little bit slick, you don't know what to expect. And I knew Aiden was on my tail throughout that heat there in the last few laps, and I was curious how he was gaining, so I started watching him a little closer, and I got an idea of how he was doing it. And then come the feature, I started to get an idea of what to do, so I just bottom to high, so pretty much like you're doing a slider, but nothing's there. You just keep running that. I did realize that there was multiple grooves on that track, and it was really sketching me out because there in the later bits of the race, you had this slick grip, like it was more like a zebra pattern in a way when you would enter 1 and 2 as well as 3 and 4. And when I was going to do that line like I've been doing, my back tire would catch grip, but it will also lose it because I'm putting so much momentum and force into the slide trying to get up the track, and each time it's swapping, I'm wheeling it just as much just to keep the car straight and keeping it off the wall. But it's one of those things, like I said, Knoxville is just a lot can happen here. And grooves, I was a little concerned because I noticed there was some spots a little bit lower than where I was running. I was thinking maybe somebody could use that and get a little bit more speed, but I was like, I'm just going to stick with what I'm comfortable with and getting a little gap going on. What really threw a curveball was that caution. Like, I thought he was going to have a all green run, and then those last 2 cautions, that was a little bit nerve-wracking because I knew the top 3, man, they were there. It wasn't like they were going anywhere either. Like, they the competition tonight was very freaking strong.
Well, certainly you were able to be above that competition here tonight. Cody, there is going to be a lot of momentum now with a lot of things at stake for you winning this race and winning this first night. That means that you'll pretty much lock yourself on the pole for one of these races in this week, and that will, of course, be a very high purse at about $50 maximum. What does that mean to you now that you've got kind of that monkey off your back? You don't really have to worry about heat racing all too much, that you'll have the pole secured with this win, and all that hard work that you could have done to get to that spot will pretty much be diminished, and you'll have a lot more time to focus on the race itself.
I mean, yeah, it is a weight lifted. I mean, I just went into this race like I've done every other race, just level head, ready for anything to happen. I mean, I've had one race, one of those Volusia National races, it just didn't happen. I got collected with one of the other drivers and ended up on my side and couldn't do anything there. And then you got the heat races from Lernerville. I mean, I went off the track twice. I'm not gonna hide it. I mean, it's just one of those tracks that a lot of things can happen. Each one of these dirt tracks that we go to, something new is in the playing field, and then you got such a strong competition, the drivers, everything. I mean, a lot of factors comes into these races. I mean, you can't just go set in stone like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, because when you get in there and something's not like you would think, that could throw your whole game plan off. Like, I'm going into them just I expect the unexpected pretty much, because a lot of things I've come in here and I've qualified in the first in the heats. I've started in the back, but it's really, I've said this to a bunch of my teammates, it's not about where you start, it's about where you finish.
Well, Cody, certainly you ended up finishing in the first spot. You win here for the 5th time in the season. Before we let you go, I know there's a lot of people you got to thank. So, of course, who are those people that you have to thank tonight?
AOD Racing, man. It's just a great team. These guys have helped me out, kept me in the ball game. I'm doing a lot more than just dirt here. I mean, it's when you have a team like this, anything's possible. I mean, I'm coming here showing my colors with the white and red 88 machine to each race. It's knowing that I'm putting the effort and the time for my team. It's amazing. I also like to thank A&B Outdoors, Dirtman Photography, Dirt Heathen Racing Apparel, Casey's General Stores, and you guys for coming out here, broadcasting these events, and now sponsoring. It's just a lot of people to thank, family as well. It's just so much that goes into these races, man.
Well, Cody, we thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate the time. And, of course, congratulations on your win here at the Knoxville Nationals. We look forward to seeing what you can put up in the next couple nights on Tuesday and Wednesday. And, of course, thank you so much. And, once again, congratulations on your win here tonight.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
That's Cody Meadows, your winner here tonight from the Knoxville Raceway. We'll kick back to second, where you'll find the number 17, former Lernerville winner, Aiden Kirker. He's sitting trackside with Keelan Busha.
Hey, and you got me.
I got you.
Well, you put together a strong run tonight. Started back and forth, drove your way up to second. You were consistently up there, a threat up in the top 3, but you just didn't quite have enough to catch Cody in those last few laps. What more did you need to get around that 88?
I was actually hoping that race went green because in the 3 laps before the caution came out, I started to chip away at his lead and was actually, I think I got a 10th each lap and really got in my groove and found a line and just got comfortable with the car and was starting to catch him. But then when that caution came out, he wasn't too happy about it. But at the same time, I was sitting there and I knew that it wasn't going to help me any because sitting under caution was just going to hurt me because I would lose all my rhythm I had. And it did, and I couldn't really get back to him. And then finally on that last lap, I ran the bottom, and I think I gained a lot in 1 and 2, maybe a little bit in 3 and 4. But I think if I had like 1 or 2 more laps, I might have got him. But I don't know. I feel like every single race, Cody and I are battling out at this point for a position or for the win. And it's, I couldn't say there's a better guy to do it with because he's a fast driver, clean driver. So every fight we have, or I shouldn't say fight, every battle we have is really clean, really, fast, really hard. So, I mean, another second place to Cody. I think it happened at Volusia. But finally, the luck that I had to start off the season is gone, or the bad luck, I should say, is gone. And, one last time out in Lernerville, I had a strong run. And first race, won the second race. And then Williams Grove, I was decent. Volusia, I was pretty good. And now Knoxville, we start off the Knoxville Nationals with a strong run. And definitely found some stuff today that I think I can use for the rest of the Nationals, and hopefully we can end up in victory lane, not only for night 2, but especially night 3 with that $50 to win.
Yeah, that $50 to win, that's going to be huge, and I feel like you could be a threat there. But tonight, how much did you learn that you can take into these following nights of Knoxville Nationals?
Well, I learned a line, and I definitely learned how the track will slicken up. Even though Knoxville's a weird track, because I feel like it never slickens up the same way. Like a lot of tracks, you kind of see a pattern of where it slicks up. Knoxville, it's such an awkward kind of track. There's not much banking on it. There's these wide sweeping turns, and you can pull that slider line that we were all doing, or you can run the top. It's just, I've been in several races where just one time the slider line will work, and the next it won't. Whereas other tracks, there's normally a consistent line. Like Eldora, it's always around the top, I feel like. Or Volusia, it's around the top. Where here, it's just every time I run a race here, it just doesn't go the same way.
Well, we thank you for coming out here tonight. You got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank all the league sponsors. Let me just Dirtman Photography, A&B Outdoors, Dirt Heathen Racing Apparel, Casey's General Store, KBRN. I want to thank NAF TV for going on the car as of recent. It's been super, super exciting to have them on the car. And thank you for, JJ, the league owner, for running this league. This is quickly becoming one of my favorites to run. I look forward to it all the time. And finally, I can actually have some success in it and not just keep getting wrecked out.
We thank you for your time, Aiden. Congratulations on a good run.
Thank you.
That's Aiden Kirker, your second place finisher from Knoxville, of course. Short, but that luck, as he said, is starting to turn around after, especially his win at Lernerville. Second place surely is nothing to complain about. With the driver over in third, we have caught up with the driver of the number 6 Channel Lock 410 sprint car. That is the driver of that number 6 in Caleb Morrissey. And trackside here with Caleb. And Caleb, once again, another strong outing for you and your Channel Lock machine. Of course, we have been looking at you week in, week out. You've been a very strong threat, and you ended up in those final 2 cautions with pretty much a good shot for the race lead, and obviously getting by to Aiden Kirker. What did you think was necessary there in that final restart or so to try and capture second place and try to chase down Meadows in time?
Oh, I needed them to make contact. There was no way I was going to pass them clean. But it was an overall good night. The car felt good. Netcode, I think that's what happened to Cole Williams. If that wouldn't happen to him, I'm not sure I would have even got third. So fortunate for that result, and get some good points out of it.
Definitely some good points, and also some prize money as well. And I know that this is obviously the first of the 3 nights of the Knoxville Nationals. You had your shot through the heats, you had your shot through the races to learn this track as much as possible. If there's anything you're going to take note in the second race, especially around the track surface and the way that this track handles with the sprint cars, what will it be? Because I know that it'll be a pivotal change, and knowing that you had the time to learn in this race, and now you can apply them over to the second race and third race in order to put yourself in better spots to win.
There's a couple things I learned today. I normally don't play with the wing, but I did a little bit, and I found some speed using that. So going to probably use that going forward, at least at Knoxville. And I thought that the line was interesting. They were diamonding. They were basically going all the way to the bottom, letting it come all the way to the top in the middle of the turn, and then kind of turning back down. I thought that line was interesting to learn, so going to probably use that one going forward as well.
And of course, a lot of momentum to be carried here. Third step, last step of the podium is still a potent finish regardless. Is there some sort of a momentum boost now that you've got this third place under your back for the first night, and you can kind of carry those into the second and third, where there'll be a higher prize pool and you're able to continue some of that consistency throughout?
Yeah, I think a couple of us have a lot of momentum coming into this next week. And it's definitely our biggest race, and looking forward to it. The competition here is just surreal, so it's going to be really tough.
Well, Caleb, certainly a great finish for you here from the first night at the virtual Knoxville Raceway. Before we let you go, I know there's a lot of people you got to thank. So who are those people that make it possible for you each and every night, especially in this race?
Yeah, I want to thank the friends and family that watched along. We appreciate all the views. A&B Outdoors, Dirtman Photography, Dirt Heathen Racing Apparel, Casey's General Stores, you guys in the booth at KBRN. And I want to thank you guys so much. You guys do a great job in the booth. I always enjoy either watching the race back or listening along as I'm racing.
Well, your support is certainly appreciated, Caleb, and of course, we appreciate the time so much. Thank you for joining us, and of course, congratulations on your third place. We look forward to seeing your performances and, of course, to see your driving ability over here in Knoxville within the rest of the week.
All right, thanks, guys. See you next week.
That's Caleb Morrissey, third place finisher from Knoxville. We get our top three off the charts, and now we get over to our Dirtman Photography hard charger of the race, and that goes to the number 46 of Richard Mandonsa. Started in 15th position at the green flag, will come home to finish in 7th. He is trackside with Keelan Belship.
Hey, Richard, it's Keelan Belship here. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, you are our Dirtman Photography hard charger. Drove yourself from 15th up to 7th. What was the key to slicing through the field tonight and getting up there?
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to. I wasn't very good in my heat, and yeah, but I just drove, and it worked out because a lot of people couldn't like hold it coming out of the corner. It was very loose, and so I took advantage of that, got around everybody. I don't know who it was, 3 or 4 cars got together, and I dove to the inside, and I got around, so that made up a lot.
Well, we got a couple more nights of the Knoxville Nationals to go tonight. A 7th place finish. Did you learn anything tonight out there on the racetrack that you can take into these next couple nights?
Yeah, I'd say so. I was trying to run the low line, and it didn't really work for me at all, so I think I'm just going to the top for the middle to the end of the race from now on.
Well, you got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank A&B Outdoors for putting on this event and stuff. And of course, Dirtman Photography, Dirt Heathen Racing Apparel, Casey's General Stores, and of course, you guys for helping out and getting it out there.
Well, congrats on the Dirtman Photography Hard Charger Award, and we thank you for your time.
All right, man.
As Richard Mandonsa, your Dirtman Photography Hard Charger Award winner. Again, 15th on the starting grid, pretty much almost at the exact tail end, was able to gain 8 positions over the course of the race. He finishes in the 7th spot. Well, Keelan, this about pretty much sums up everything from Knoxville, but it is not just over yet. We still have 2 more nights to cover, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We saw a lot of good action here, saw a bunch of great battles, especially through the midfield, and maybe even also a compelling run for the lead as well. But if this shows anything, it shows that the strongest are still the strong, and of course, we have yet to really see any sort of surprises come out of the midfield, but the Knoxville Nationals, when they come into Tuesday and Wednesday, the big prize and, of course, the big stakes will certainly step things up and amp things up a little.
Yes, sir, you hit the nail on the head there. These guys that are coming out here, they learned a lot throughout the night. I asked each one I talked to, what did you learn tonight that you can take into the next few nights? And they all said their racing line. We mentioned it earlier. Cody Meadows, the race winner, his racing line was so unique compared to everybody else. And Knoxville, it's such a unique track. You really got to get what you're doing down quick so you can get up there and make moves. And now Meadows, he's got all the momentum in the world going into these last 2 nights. I'd consider him right now the favorite for that $50 purse.
Well, our coverage does not end here for the Knoxville Nationals presented by Dirtman Photography. We will have more coverage of the series throughout this next upcoming weekend, throughout this week, and even tonight, we still have a lot to go down with. Later tonight, at about 8:20 p.m. Eastern, you can catch Sunday Night NASCAR as they continue their playoffs as they move over to the Rockingham Speedway, one of the famed races in NASCAR history. They will move over there in the NASCAR Cup Series cars. Coverage there will start at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. You can find it right here on the YouTube channel at KBueno Racing Network, and we will go live at that about time. Charlie Baier and Francisco Bacallao will be on the car for that one, so you can hear them cover the race as they continue through their playoffs and as they inch closer and closer to their Championship 4 race at the Iowa Speedway. Then Monday, we have the iRacing Bunch Lawn Care Series, the final race of the regular season from the Chicagoland Speedway. Charlie Baier and I will be on the call for that action. That coverage will start at about 8:20 p.m. Eastern, just like the Sunday Night NASCAR one, and we'll have coverage there, and we'll see which will be the 10 drivers to find their way and be locked in to the iRacing Bunch Lawn Care Series playoffs when they visit the Charlotte Roval in about 1 week time. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, of course, back here for the AMB Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series. We'll start Tuesday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. That'll be our second night of this Knoxville Nationals. Then Wednesday, same time, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, at the Knoxville Nationals, with the highest purse, $50, given to the winner of the race. Of course, all that coverage will be right here on the youtube.com/KBueno Racing Network. And it'll be all right here. We'll give you info, of course, on our Twitter at KBRN Network. You can also visit our newly founded Instagram page at KBueno Racing Network. We'll have updates for you on that front as well from all your socials to make sure you know up to date what's going on every single week right here on the KBueno Racing Network. So that does it for us right here for the AMB Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series Knoxville Nationals presented by Dirtman Photography. I want to thank JJ Hill, league owner, for putting this show on each and every week for this series, and of course all the admins that make it possible, Cole Williams, Aiden Kirker, a lot of the other guys that make these things happen, and of course from all of us at the KBueno Racing Network, for Charlie Baier, Francisco Bacallao over on that side, and for us in the booth with my colleague Keelan Belshaw alongside, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying good night from Knoxville. We're not just done here yet. We'll see you Tuesday and Wednesday for the rest of the Knoxville Nationals.